pound. You had to be 110 pounds, and I was, I think, 9 1/4. Still, I was, I think, about 3/8 of a pound short. The guy said, "Well, you're too eager. Go ahead. I'm going to put you." I went to hospital corps school in San Diego. They came to the barracks and told me, "You've been transferred to the Marine Corps." When I joined the 1st Marine Division, I was the only Mexicano in the whole company. And then we started getting a lot of Mexicanos. In fact, we used to get together on Saturdays, guys from the Valley, from California, Texas, all Mexicanos. They had guitars and we'd sing, really, and we had a cook that said, send home, for flour and beans and chili, and he would cook your beans and rice, and we'd make tacos. If you didn't sing, they wouldn't let you in, and everybody had to sing. But it was, really relaxing, really. Somehow, Tokyo Rose, who was a Japanese lady who used to speak English, would broadcast, to the Marines, and she'd say, "Hello, Marines, we know you're coming to Okinawa. We're waiting for you. You didn't see land, because of the smoke, but then when you get there, first thing you do is start running as fast as you can, You start going forward, and the biggest ambush, I mean to tell you, there was a horrible, battle, There was a guy, I never forget, he used to discriminate against Mexicans, And I remember in combat, he was wounded and yelling for help, And even the guys told me, "Leave him alone, Doc. He doesn't deserve, But I went up there and took care of him, And I remember that there was so many things happening. One of the worst battles I can recall, because this young guy came, by, and he had only had a flesh wound, had a bandage on his arm. And he said, "Can I help you?" I said, "No, get out of here, "No, I'll stay, And we were together, our faces were this far apart, I don't know what hit him, but all of a sudden, there was a big blast, and he fell on me. And when I pulled him up, half of his face was gone, And so I laid him down, and the guy I was with died, And I started dragging him, He weighed about 200 pounds, and I dragged and dragged. Some other guys started dragging him too, but he was dead, But still, you have respect for the dead, in a place like that, And I was the only corpsman left, and there were 16 of us out of the whole company left, And then when I got off, and I looked, and my hands were all bloody, And I went to a rice paddy, and the sun was out, and I saw myself, and I had blood all over me. And I started crying. I mean, I was the worst I'd ever seen, And then this gunnery sergeant came and shook me and says, "Jesus, they need a corpsman, And they said, there's some wounded that are being left behind, Finally, I ran around, and there's a big shell crater, and there were 2 wounded guys, and I went in there, and worked on them, and then I just prayed and prayed and prayed. Finally, a tank came and got us out. I was glad to get out alive, because when I was wounded, taken to the hospital. In the hospital, they took my name for a Purple Heart, and I didn't get it until 1994, 95, See, I got the Bronze Star Medal with the V for Valor, one of the first jobs I got was a Southern Equipment, And the guy who was in charge of personnel had been a second-class petty officer. I was a first class. And I remember I filled out the application, and it said citizenship. I put American, And then, when he looked at it, he said, "You're not American, you're Mexican." He lined up, put Mexican, And they used to advertise whites only, Yeah, well, a lot of that happened. Those things, change eventually. And the thing is to understand, and be human.